Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flavor of the Week, brought to you by Banditos, fresh, made daily. In Flavor of the Week, Kyle sits down with one of our local priests over 4 different episodes to sample variations of a favorite food or drink while they discuss the ins and outs of life as a priest.
This is Kyle Hyman here for Flavor of the Week, Part 2 with Fr David Violi. We're here in Bluffton. We've tried the chocolate cupcake with vanilla icing. We've got a caramel-topped filled donut. We've got a cherry strudel or a chocolate eclair.
Kind of feels like a cherry conversation.
Okay. Cherry conversation.
Strudel.
There's always a strategy to like what order do you want to put things in? Like what's going to taste good back to back? And
Well, I think we're saving the eclair for last.
okay.
I mean, that's
well,
an eclair.
there we go. We've got that decided.
It's going to have the highest judgment we have to give it. So,
do you have a favorite pastry of all time?
No. I'm impartial. I'm
right.
I'm willing to try anything.
Lots of sugar on the top, like the crystals.
Oh yeah. Yeah. What are you thinking?
I think it's good.
It's pretty good.
It's basically just a miniature cherry pie, like cherry pie filling.
Well,
flaky
this has
crust.
been a good interview. I'll snap. I'm kidding. Yeah. No, I see exactly what you mean. It's got that good pie filling.
Is that insulting to
I have no idea.
streusel?
I don't know enough about strudels to really make these determinations. I'm sure someone does. I'm realizing I have the exact same socks as you. Someone just gave me those as a gift.
Oh, yeah, the St. Joseph socks.
Yep.
From Sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious.
Yeah. Appropriate for the parish here, St. Joseph
right.
Parish.
Well,
Yeah.
exactly. They planned well.
So speaking of the parish here, it's kind of an interesting situation, kind of small town Bluffton.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like on the main road, but also a little bit country.
Yep.
Because you got fields behind you.
Yep. My neighbors are farmland, and across the road a bank.
Isn't there like 6 banks across the street?
Yes. Yeah.
So if anybody needs some money for the collection, they could just run across the street.
We have a variety here.
So what are some of the dynamics of that, coupled with the fact that there's a state park here? So do you get visitors that are in the area that stop by for Mass on Sunday if they're camping or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's part of the beauty of it. We have Wabash State Park. I think it's actually spelled Kabachi, and I've always been told it's pronounced Wabash. So
I've heard it pronounced so many different ways. Yeah, I have no idea which one's the right one.
it's just a beautiful area. And so the beautiful thing is we, of course, get many people traveling through, many people coming from Fort Wayne who'll be coming down for the weekend to camp. So we see them on our Saturday vigil, our Sunday morning masses. And, it's wonderful in the summer, especially in the warmer months, to see so many different faces. If someone's outside camping today, God bless them, because I think it's about 6 degrees right now.
So is that something, do you call out the guests and be like, hey, anybody visiting, stand up or anything like that?
No, actually, that's kind of the beauty of a small parish is you see them.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know the new faces.
Right.
And so when people are coming into the church, we have our greeters right there.
Okay.
And, they're greeting. And it's the same thing as, hey, are you new? Are you visiting? Are you from the state park?
Mm-hmm.
And even at Mass this morning, we had a woman who was coming down to visit family.
Okay.
And, it was so great to just chat with them after. And, everyone kind of, there's someone new, and they say hi and they greet them. We had someone here visiting that I knew, and they came and they said, afterwards, Father, it was just one of the beautiful things. She said, from the moment I walked into the church, I felt welcomed. And it's just, people are coming, are you new? Where are you visiting from? And so they just had all these questions and, just a great, warm and welcoming community. So it's so wonderful then when we do have guests so frequently in the summers.
I think that is good because I don't feel like that's the normal reaction that people have with the Catholic Church, or especially, your daily Mass kind of. Most people are just kind of get in or get out, or get in way early so they can pray the rosary, and then they stick around late, and it's not like for conversation necessarily. Yes. And so I've really, in traveling around and going into different churches and stuff like that, I'm always, I don't need to be pointed out or welcomed or anything like that, but so many times I just go in, celebrate the Mass, and leave, and nobody ever says anything to me.
Yeah.
And the times that somebody does reach out, be like, oh, hey, where are you from? Or something like that. They recognize that I'm new there.
Yep.
I feel so much more welcomed. And I feel like it's something we miss out a lot.
I've been at a few different parishes, and I was a priest.
Okay.
And differing sizes as well.
Right.
And so I've been at larger parishes, more of a medium size, we would say, and then smaller parishes. My first 3 assignments, met a family who was greeting them, and they were saying, "Oh, well, we were coming from this parish, Father. It was a bit larger than the parish they were coming to." And they said, "We just need a smaller parish, something more intimate."
Yeah.
And so I was between two parishes, one that was a good size, and then one that was a bit of a smaller community. And then go to Mass that next day at the other parish, at the smaller parish, and there's another family who came from the other church. And they said, "Father, we're going to be joining here. We just need, the other church is just too big. We need a smaller community." And so, for each person, it's different.
Yeah.
We're going to find that parish that, fits our needs and feeds us. And, that's one of the beautiful things for St. Joseph's. I think one of our great hallmarks is our community. And that's we're the only Catholic church in Wells County.
Okay.
You usually have some, people in common, or that you meet. And when we have meetings, one of the things we're trained in the seminary is, meeting generally shouldn't run over an hour if it doesn't have to, right? And you gotta be mindful of everyone's time, because they're making that great effort to participate and be involved. And we'll have a meeting, we'll finish, and everyone will stay, and we'll just chat.
Yeah.
And that's that's community. That's
right.
beautiful. And so it's just so wonderful, that we can have that. Because everyone kind of knows each other, or if you're visiting, they'll greet you and they'll want to know more about you. And that's one of the beautiful things, especially with a little bit of a smaller parish. It's easier because you know people, or you at least know of people, or you've heard of them. If you're not attending the same Mass, of course, if you're at the Saturday Vigil exclusively, you may not know anyone at the 7:30.
Right.
But in the town, you might,
Sure.
are you related to so and so, and so on. So there's just I think just that beautiful sense of community that we have here, that people are very welcoming, and also engaging. That's kind of where we're at right now. We're building up those relationships.
Yeah. Whereas some place like South Bend or Mishawaka or Fort Wayne, where you might be in a place where you could throw a rock and hit 5 different churches.
Yes.
And so you're kind of choosing which church you want to go to. A lot of people might do, and maybe we're supposed to be going to the one in our parish boundaries.
Yeah.
But people might say, this one is more geared towards families, or this one has a school, and so we're going to be a part of that one. Yeah. You're kind of the only game in town here. And so people might be traveling a little bit further, like you said, the only one in the county. Does that come with some difficulties? You mentioned some of the benefits of a small town parish, but
one of the main difficulties you just said, people can be driving to come here. And so driving 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes from home isn't that uncommon.
Yeah.
Because some people are further out. If you're in another town in the county, well, I said we might be the closest church, even if it's 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we have to be very intentional then about community, because it may not be easy for people to get here. Actually, one thing I did when I was in South Bend, I went through and I tried to put a list together of all of the Holy Thursday times for the different parishes.
Yeah.
Because we had a tradition of visiting 7 parishes on Holy Thursday. And you could do that because you had, 18 parishes or so up there.
Yeah.
And so you could actually do that. Here, we're the only church in the county.
Right.
So we have to be a lot more intentional for that community aspect, because, it is a harder effort to get up here at sometimes for some families or some parishioners. And then same thing, if they're traveling for something, it's a longer drive. And so that's one of the challenges, is trying to find that right time. And that's for any parish, of course, because we have such busy schedules now. But, especially when you factor in that drive, and that time, that we have to be very intentional. If we're going to do something, we are doing it. We were running our 3rd Alpha. And we really tried to open it up to the town this time. And we're hosting it at Family Centered Services, a nonprofit just across the street here.
So
And
tell me about that. Having it not in the parish, was that a matter of logistics, of we just don't have the space for it, or was it intentional of let's do it somewhere other than the Catholic Church that other people might be open to going to that wouldn't necessarily go in the Catholic Church?
It's exactly that latter reason.
Okay.
Our first two were hosted here. The first year before I arrived, it was hosted in our gym. And then this past year was hosted in our social hall. And we have the space for it.
Okay.
But there might be a hesitance for someone, especially the Alpha program. The Alpha is much more an introduction to Christianity. And so to actually come into a church for it might be seen just too much for someone, or they're just not there yet. They're not ready. And
so how's that played out?
Our second to last planning meeting, we really had no one signed up.
Okay.
It was like, what do we do? And it's like, well, let's have the first meeting because, we provide a meal. So we tried to, if you're going to come, please call. So we have a general idea for food, but it said, no matter what, have the meeting. Because who knows who might come up. But we had 20 something people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we had a very good group and they're just starting. We'll be going into our second week now. And so if anyone in Wells County is listening, every Thursday from 6:30 to 8 at Family-Centered Services, you're welcome to join the Alpha program.
All right. What have been some of the fruits that you've seen from the Alpha program?
Oh, a lot of renewal, and I think that's that beautiful hallmark of it. It helps to rekindle a lot of those flames. As I said, it's an introductory course, but our relationship with the Lord is exactly that. It's a relationship. And so sometimes it's great to just get those basics again. A point of prayer I've been returning to a lot and talking to a lot recently has been from John's Gospel, one of my favorite lines. It seems pretty much a throwaway line. I don't know if I should be saying this on the air. I got to study more into it before I say that. But it's when John, the evangelist, says when he first meets the Lord, he says, it was about 4 p.m. And I always think, initially it's like, well, why does that matter?
Yeah.
Right? Of everything to write in the scriptures.
Yeah.
And John says everything that has been written is for salvation's purpose. There's so much more that could be written. He writes that. It was about 4 p.m. And the question is, why is that important? And the reality is for us, it may have very little meaning. But for John, that's the moment his life changed. Because that's the moment he first met the Christ.
Yeah. Last week when you mentioned driving up to meet with Bishop Rhodes to see if you'd be accepted as a seminarian, you said the date, I think February 6th.
February 6th, Feast of St. Paul Mickey and Companions.
That date doesn't mean anything to me, but that was a huge day for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And we all have that. We have those moments. We have it in general life, a wedding day.
Right.
Hopefully you remember your wedding day. I won't put you on the spot.
Give or take. Yeah.
Birth of a child.
Yeah.
I know Bishop loves to, at confirmation masses, he'll ask who knows their baptismal date. Because that's the date we entered into the church.
Right.
I just celebrated mine, January 17th.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And, it's a day to celebrate. And it's the same thing. For John, why was 4 important? Because that's the moment his whole life changed. And we should celebrate that. The same thing with us. We all first encountered the Lord in some way. We all have that 4 p.m. But we have to think back, when was it? And, it's a love relationship. So that should be something that's always on our hearts.
Right.
And that's, the Alpha program helps to bring that renewal because it's about the basics. And so it's helped stoking, the flames that are there and to build up on it. And at times to open and create a whole new relationship that maybe we didn't have, or to help us go deeper than we currently are.
Well, and you think of when most of us cradle Catholics were introduced to the basics of Catholicism and Christianity, we were very young. And so hopefully our minds are more mature and our intellects, and we can comprehend it in a different way now learning as adults. Yeah. So
St. Paul speaks of that.
Yeah.
Just how we deepen that relationship. We are nourished with different foods in a sense. We become adults in that relationship. Yeah.
All right. Well, lots more to talk about, but we'll have to wrap this up. How do you feel about the cherry? Is it streusel or strudel? I think I've said it both ways.
I think either work.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not enough to end the interview. Don't worry.
Okay. 1 to 10.
You're going to find I'm a very complimentary person. I'm going to go with the 10.
Oh.
It's a whole different dynamic than a cupcake, but both can work for breakfast.
Very good. All right. Well, we'll have some more Flavor of the Week with Fr David Violi coming up next week here on The Kyle Hyman Show.